I'll call you or text you guys right after I'm done. Yeah. It's not the greatest lighting, but it'll have to do. Hey, y'all, we're at Peggy's Natural Foods in Stuart, Florida. Got to see my best bud, Susan, and Andrew. And we ate at Roots and Fruits. I don't know which one comes first, the fruits or the roots. Anyway, Super Don, let me know if we're coming through here. I'll be connecting to GCN right now. And let's see if we're connected. Yeah, pull it apart. So I'll call you guys after I'm done. Love you. Appreciate it. All right. Am I connected? Is this
Hey, Robert.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
All right. Who is that? What day is this? I don't even know what day it is.
It's Tuesday and you got John.
It's John. That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
How are my levels? Are they too loud, too quiet? What's going on?
Let me take a look in my
all right
metering here.
Check. 1, 2, 3.
I mean, I could take a little bit more volume out of you, but I know you're going to end up being a little bit louder when you come out the gate, you know?
Yeah. I could tap it up just a bit.
Yeah, give me a little bit.
All right. You want me to give it from the diaphragm or from the mixing board?
Let's go mixing board. That'll
be
a little bit easier on your.
All right. Bringing it up on the mixing board. Where's Super Don? Is he connected yet?
I don't believe so. He should be connecting anytime now, but he's hooked up and ready to be connected.
Okay.
But no, that's good. Thanks for the adjustment there.
Did first hour go according to plan?
Yep. We got it sent in, got it cut up and programmed, and it's just finishing up right now.
Okay, sweet.
Just finished up. Actually,
just finished.
Right top of the hour, yeah.
All right, thanks, John.
How are we doing on guests today?
Check.
Hey, Super.
It's just you, me, and Super D this hour. I'm all alone in the store. They've left me in. They've locked me in. It's kind of like being locked in the big supermarket at night.
Is the store actually closed?
It is.
I was gonna say. I mean, it looks very empty. It's just you and a bunch of
where all of this stuff was filled with people, chairs everywhere, rolling in the rafters, standing room only. When I was done, they were lighting their, what do they call those lighters at the end of concerts? They're like, encore, right? So this is what we do. Bringing the power to heal back where it belongs, wherever it belongs. And it belongs with you. So we'll see if people are going to join us. So you're going to have to help me out a little bit. Obviously, not a lot of time to prep for the show tonight.
Not a lot really to prep for.
Okay.
We got.
You blast out the listen links and all that stuff? Because I didn't.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
And we can't play comment of the day, so you're going to have to yell, say, hey, you guys.
Yeah.
Hey, Super D, can we check your metering real quick? You seem a little low on your end.
Check. I had to adjust it yesterday because, I don't know, this computer, this microphone, something is always screwy in some way. So let me bring it up to where it usually is, right about there. Is that better?
That looks nice. Thank you.
Okay.
This stuff's awesome. I got a different version today. Maca mocha or maca mocha, dark cocoa, chicory, and maca. No coffee. That one's good.
Chicory, huh?
Can we get Rebel? I want Rebel to be a sponsor. That stuff, that's addictive. That's just addictive.
Yes.
All right.
Rebel. No, I mean, we could always try, right? Why not?
With a rebel yell.
Speaking of sponsor, we also should probably follow up with who was it that you were talking with the other day?
Well, I want to get AJ Lanigan back on for sure.
Yeah, no. It was you asked him on the air on the YouTube if he does radio sponsorships, and he was like, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that was at the weekend show I just did.
Yeah.
So yeah, we definitely have to follow up on that.
With that guy, him.
I'm sorry about the lighting. I've got no control of the lighting in this place, but
you're fine. You're
all right. All right, I'm in. I see the chat room. Define Hemp is there. Michelle, hey Michelle, and Julianne, and probably a few others that are not commenting. You are the champions. Yep. You're here for the second hour of the Robert Scott Bell Show live from Stuart, Florida. You know, Stuart should be here. Stuart, Florida. Stuart, Florida.
He's kind of under the weather. That's why he's not here today.
That explains it.
Yeah.
Now, did you get the email I forwarded to you about Dr. Rob MacCuspie's wife story?
Yes,
okay.
And it's in the notes. The link to the website.
Dude, I thought that was a great hour. I hope y'all enjoyed. Let me know what you thought, because I wasn't obviously available. I was doing a lecture to see what you guys were, if you were digging it. Michelle, what did you think of hour one? Did you listen to it? I see you're here now, but the discussion on silver and infectious disease, I thought, just for me, very, very exciting to be able to talk about that. Very empowering.
You even got to talk about Ozzy Osbourne. How
yes,
cool is
and any show we can talk about Ozzy Osbourne is a win. It's a win as far as I'm concerned. So
he had 3 different infections
mhm.
in his thumb.
Wow.
I mean, how do you get 3?
That's
right?
like a cartoon thing when the thumb gets that big.
Yes.
You ever remember seeing those thumbs you could buy to put over your own thumb that were huge?
Yeah.
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 So,
He said it swelled up to the size of a light bulb.
unreal.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. I got to figure out where I'm staying tonight. Oh my gosh.
You just stay there. Did you bring a sleeping bag?
I guess I'm locked in. You know that they do that. They
Right
make
there.
sitcoms about staying in places and not being able to get out. I don't want to do Die Hard in a health food store though. That's not my plan.
What was the name of that movie with was it Tom Hanks in the airport? The Terminal? I think
it was called Terminal. Yeah, I believe so.
Terminal?
Yeah. That was
where he lived in the airport.
Listen, I don't know if Tom Hanks is one of those twisted people that some people say he might be. I don't know. I just don't know. But his movies, he's done some good movies. He has. So, all right, we are live in less than 1 minute. Michelle says that was a very powerful discussion. I thought so, but you're not just placating me, are you? You're just not. You really believe that?
It was super awesome, Robert. I loved it so much. It was the
just
best.
Camp out in the store. Now, do you see anything comfortable to sleep on? The sweet potatoes are not that soft. They're not cooked. So, no, I'm not planning to sleep in the health food store. I got onions for pillows, very lumpy. I'm not going to sleep in the store. Got to figure out where to go, though.
And Michelle is bringing up the story, which I almost put in the show today. We may cover it tomorrow, about the 6 children that died from the adenovirus outbreak
in New Jersey.
Yes.
All right.
It was at a rehab center where kids are already medically
looks like
fragile.
Well, if they're in a rehab center, are they like rehab drug addicts or what?
No. With illness.
Oh,
rehabilitation.
Well, yeah, of course. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
The Robert Scott Bell Show.
Today, health insurance reform is the law of the land.
The healthcare law was supposed to keep medical costs down, but a new report says your payments are expected to jump.
I think I made a mistake. Robert Scott Bell.
A coalition of public health advocates targeting Ronald McDonald.
I'd love to see Ronald McDonald retired. Well, let's kill him off like we did Joe Camel.
Robert Scott Bell.
Side effects may include depressed mood, thoughts of suicide, insomnia, suicide may occur, diarrhea, unusual or strange dreams, agitation, sexual side effects, drowsiness, dizziness, and nausea, hostility, trouble sleeping, seizures, various skin reactions, thoughts of suicide. Suicide may occur.
Oh yeah, drugs. You gotta have drugs.
Taking on bureaucrats and corporations that would stand in the way of health freedom and making sense out of medical propaganda. The voice of health, freedom, and liberty, Robert Scott Bell.
All right, this is perhaps one of the most unusual shows I've ever done. Not because I'm any more unusual than I normally am, Super Don, but I'm apparently locked in a health food store after hours, and they've left me alone here.
Help!
Yeah.
Help!
Yes. Thank you to Peggy Ranger. She didn't show up for my lecture, though, but she's got another meeting apparently to be at. But that's okay. I'll get out of here later. I am at Peggy's Natural Foods in Stuart, Florida. No, don't come down and see me. It's too late if you missed the lecture. We had a sold-out audience, and it was free. And they were all over the place here, filled with chairs and things, those of you watching on YouTube. And basically, an empowering lecture, if I may say so myself, ultimately leading to how to restore the gut integrity so all of the functions that are associated with that, which there are many, could be restored. It was interesting as I look at this lecture I just did, and I was talking with the manager of the store about it. If I step outside of myself and watch the lecture, it really is different every time. I know where I want to go with the folks. I know what I want to teach them, but if those of you are public speakers, you understand this. I hope you do. You got to sense the audience. You got to feel who's there. And you would do that energetically, ultimately. You can use visual cues. You look at the audience, but there's sometimes where you're like, I'm going to go this way. And then suddenly you look in one person's eyes and suddenly a story floods in or an angle floods in that you have to communicate just for that person. And you don't overtly say, hey, I'm talking to you right now. but it just flows through, and then you hope everybody goes along with it for the ride. But it was like that for me. It's a very exciting place to be when you're in that moment. You're serving somebody who is in need. Obviously, you're talking to a large group of folks, which we do to some degree, Super Don, 2 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I can't see you out there necessarily, but I can feel you. All right. And it's not like Bill Clinton, I feel your pain. That's not what I'm saying. It's like that connection, the communication, the intangibles, but tangibles, that spiritual connection I feel to you all when we get to do this show. And Super Don, my brother, as well. So last hour, we had a pre-record from yesterday for today's show, exclusive full hour with Dr. Rob MacCuspie. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did doing the interview and learning a lot from it. We added something in about his wife's story in the show notes. There's a link to his wife's story, a blog about her story, about what she did, silver and everything, to get well. And that led to Dr. Rob MacCuspie doing what he's doing now with the silver hydrosol. So very, very cool hour. Were you monitoring the YouTube feed? Were there any questions or comments coming through we need to address, or we just dive into the second hour here?
Shoot.
Oh, shoot. What does that mean? Oh, shoot.
I'm sorry. No, I had it going. I was working on some other stuff. So I think here's what we'll do.
Attention.
Here's what we'll do.
Okay.
What are we gonna do? Launch into what I think is an important story, something that we need to cover here. I'll go and check maybe on the break. Maybe if there are any questions, we can address those. Maybe like at the bottom of the hour.
Okay.
But been a while since we've talked about Fukushima.
Yeah.
You know, it was one of those things where when it was happening and for a period of time after, we were dealing with the results of the nuclear plant giving off this giant radiation cloud and radiation in the ocean, and so and it actually drug on for quite a period of time. We were seeing evidence of it showing up on the coast here on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Well, the good folks over in Japan at the Fukushima
Tokyo Electric Power Plant,
site,
TEPCO?
They have decided they need to do something because they've run out of room to store the nuclear water, right? The water from the plant that's radiated.
Right.
So they have come up with a brilliant plan on how to dispose of this in a very safe and environmental way. And I was very impressed with this.
What are they going to put in vaccines?
They're going to dump it into the ocean.
Well,
what?
Yeah.
1.09 million tons of water from the nuclear plant. They're going, we don't know what else to do with it. I think we'll just dump it in the ocean.
Well, they say that the solution to pollution is dilution, but the ionizing radiation coming from Fukushima,
well,
I don't know how much you can dilute. I mean, the risk is, of course, those that live on the sea, by the sea, the evaporation from the sea to the air and the rain that comes down. We've talked about, closer to the time Fukushima happened, they were finding elevated radiation levels in milk across the North American continent. And we don't cover it every day because it would be all that we cover. And I don't mean that we're cognitively dissonant about it, but I think that to some degree you put it out of your mind, because what can any of us do about it except try to counteract the effects of exposure on an ongoing basis to ionizing radiation, which we talk about from time to time here, and it doesn't change. It means that just like those that survived Hiroshima and Nagasaki and didn't die of cancer many years later, the higher ingestion of selenium is key to your protection against something that you can't account for. Now, one of the mainstay, let's say, messages here is that you have to control for that which you have control over, genuinely. I think we are asked to do that. I know a lot of people will eat glyphosate-containing foods and they say, I can just pray it away. I'm like, okay, good luck to you. I hope that you're right. Maybe you're right. But I've seen too many people that eat garbage food and just say, oh, I'll just pray it away. And I think that's, I don't say intellectually lazy, but maybe spiritually lazy. And maybe I'm being judgmental here, Super Don, but maybe it's because I don't pray it away. I mean, yes.
Unless it's a hurricane.
Unless it's a hurricane, yes, of course. Oh, you had to bring that up, didn't you? Now, this is an interesting subject, Super Don, honestly, because, when I say this, I am not in any way diminishing the power of prayer. Okay, my perception and belief on it, the communication. Okay, that's not my point in bringing this up.
Yeah.
But I think there are people that use it as a crutch or an excuse to not do
sometimes, yeah.
I believe they should be doing. And of course, I don't like to should on people, but that's just what I'm saying.
You don't like to what?
Should on people.
Should? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. That was scary for a moment.
But really should all over me.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, it's like that old story about the guy in the flood, right, on the roof of the house, and the plane, the helicopter shows up and the boat shows up, and every time he's going, well, God will save me, and then he dies and he goes to heaven. And God's like, look, I sent you a boat, I sent you a helicopter.
Right.
So yeah, I think so. I think the trick really is knowing, where that line is, right? Mm-hmm. Of where, action needs to take place rather than just throwing your hands up and waiting for some higher power to take care of it for you. So, the higher power probably gives you the brains and the knowledge to be able to figure out how to get yourself out of a situation. And you can't discount that. And I wish that were the case in Japan, because when you've got, over 1 million tons of water that has all this radioactive material in it, don't we have the ability to figure out how to get rid of that water in some other way than dump it into the ocean? Isn't that what caused the problem to begin with?
Well,
when they had the storm.
And what's interesting that you bring that up, and I think about, the technology. I don't know what is the technology available to neutralize ionizing radiation particles that may not decay.
Well, they have something. They have something. I don't know anything about this, but they've got something called an advanced liquid processing system. Mm-hmm. And this is apparently designed in some way to eliminate radioactive material from water, but it hasn't been able to keep up. And so they've got this problem now where they've run out of room. They don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I understand, okay, dilution, but that doesn't, I'm not a scientist, but I'm guessing that if you just dump 1 million tons of water into the ocean, I suppose it might dilute at some point way down in the process after it's been in the ocean. But at the point of dumping that water, at that point, you're killing everything that's in the ocean right there.
Well, and think about those radioactive particles that don't decay for 1 million years.
Well, yeah. What's the half-life of these things?
Yeah. And so if you ingest that, a fish ingests it, you ingest it, right? Then it's lodged in you. Then that one particle that, sure, it's diluted in a lot of water, but that one particle may be all it takes. And that's why I say, what can we do? And I think of Emoto. It was interesting today when I went to a health food store across town in Stewart, a nice lady, and the other two lady that owns it, and 2 other ladies that work there. We were talking, and then some woman walked in just with a lot, bounding with energy. She said she was like 50-something years old. She looked very healthy, and she talked about her history, and she started talking about water, and she started talking about Emoto. Remember the guy who took pictures of the crystals of water that were polluted versus the ones with love, right? And then we looked at each other, and she's like, "You look familiar to me." And it turns out I met her at the Health Freedom Expo in Chicago, not this one, but years back when we used to have it, because she was hanging out with Emoto back then. And fascinating journey that you happen to just show up somewhere, someone you happen to meet out of the blue shows up. And I think about this radiation issue, and I think about water, and then I think about Emoto, and I think about prayer. How does prayer change water? So maybe I'm being too harsh for those that pray over water, for instance, that there is evidence that it does alter the water, right?
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, if it works for you, then the more power to you. I mean, it's like, I'm not gonna bash anybody for doing something that they say works for them.
Yeah.
Unlike, I'm not a skep duck, so I'm not going to sit here and make you prove it. I mean, if it works for you, it works for you.
But it does honestly bother me as a parent when kids are when they're feeding their kids like glyphosate containing corn chips and breads.
Sure.
And they're punching holes through their gut. Now, I don't know, again, talk about prayer. Do you just pray the holes away? Or do you stop putting the things that cause the holes in? I mean, it's like common sense, right? At a certain point, you don't.
That's a tough one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, you can do the Silver Aloe Protocol. It's written about in Unlock the Power to Heal. You can get that at Amazon online or Barnes & Noble online. Show notes are up. Links are there. Thanks to Super Don, RobertScottBell.com. Live from Stewart, Florida. More next.
The revolution will be broadcast.
The Robert Scott Bell Show.
Did we talk about selenium? Did I mention selenium at least in that segment? I hope so.
You did earlier in the segment. Yeah.
All right.
Yep. 1 million tons of radioactive water in the ocean. What is wrong with people?
I'm getting pretty good at this setting up, tearing down this studio everywhere I go. It used to be a lot easier when I didn't have to do video too, but somehow we're making it work. Tomorrow night, I don't have an answer as to, if I'm going to be broadcasting live from Toonies, but I'll be lecturing there. And we do have a great hour. Guess what, folks? With Chris Barr, not a doc. And we're going to talk about in the first hour tomorrow's show, echinacea. We're going to go into the depths of echinacea we haven't ever gone with Chris. And that's going to be a prime focus for tomorrow's show related to flu and other immune conditions of the season. The adenovirus. I'll have to look into that because I have not yet seen that story you mentioned earlier.
Let's see here. I think I've got it. Are you able to open it up and look at it right now?
What do you want me to look at?
If you wanted to look at that story right now, you could.
Yeah, no, maybe at the bottom of the hour. Got a message coming through. Plus CBD. Just curious as to why. Based on the research I've done, seems to be the best. They seem to hear your thoughts. Also, do you have a specific dosage you suggest to people? Thanks, man. Somebody's asking me about the CV Sciences. Well, yeah, because they've done the most research. They've done the most homework. They've done the most validation. I know what I'm getting every time. And as far as dosing, Taylor, if you're watching, just seeing this come through Facebook, there's no one size fits all. You have got to find the right dose for you. I don't know why you're using it. Why are you taking the CBD? There was a woman that came into the other store today when I was there, and she was looking for the Charlotte's Web. I was like, hey, you don't need the Charlotte's Web. You've got the CV Sciences. So she got a bottle of the gold. She walked out with the gold CBD here that we have. So, by the way, you can get it
Charlotte's
direct.
Web.
Plus CBDworld.com, 15% off. RSB 15 gets you 15% off. Ooh, do I have some more silver spray here? Do that. Very good. Anything on YouTube I need to know about?
Let's see here. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, so a lot of talk about that adenovirus thing. We will cover that.
Maybe tomorrow night. I'll have if I have time to review it.
Yeah, we could do that. Maybe might be a little more information on it by then. Cannabis could take radiation out. Yeah.
In the ocean? Do we just dump cannabis in the ocean?
We'll just throw it in the ocean. Maybe they could put it like into the ground, but then you have to worry about the water table. Yeah, it's kind of radioactivity sucks. That's a really tough one. That's not an easy thing where you can just, we'll just get rid of it.
This is where I think we need alien invasion to save us from our stupidity.
Or Superman. Where's Superman?
Right.
Maybe he could probably do something, right? No chair for Robert? I don't know. They didn't give you a chair? Or you feel like standing?
Yeah, listen, I normally do the show standing up. When I'm out of town, I usually have to do it sitting down. So I had an opportunity to do it standing up. So I'm doing stand up.
You can tell these people have been watching the show because they're like, there's no chair. And to find him, just notice you have no beverage right now either.
Well, I finished my Rebel Maca Mocha. It's empty.
I know, but that's kind of like one of your props for the show, right?
Yeah, y'all, listen. If I'm in my home studio, I have control over all of that. All right, here we go.
Yes.
Not here. I'm locked in a health food store. Y'all watching on YouTube? There's nobody here. I can, hello, somebody said if I
you could run up and down the aisles like Home Alone or something, right?
I do that crazy stuff. I can definitely eat well. I can supplement well. I can make tea, I guess. I'm going to be good. I won't go hungry if I have to stay overnight, but I'm not planning on it. Tomorrow night at Toonies, we might be broadcasting live from Toonies. I haven't confirmed that yet. I'll have to figure that out. Also, tomorrow. For those of you watching and listening live, the lecture's at 6 at Toonies, but also I'm planning to be at Richard Pearl's place in Sunrise, Florida. And that is Sunset Strip in Florida, Sunrise, and 2 to 4 in the afternoon. It's Simply Natural Organic Restaurant. I'm going to make Richard Pearl buy me lunch. Yep.
There you go.
He's too cheap. He's not going to do it. But I'm going to see if I can get him to do it. Anyway, hey, I think we got a doggy update, a doggy story. Is that what I'm looking at here?
We do, which is interesting timing because if you're on YouTube, you'll see we got some questions coming up about CBD for dogs.
Oh.
And we also have a question here. Actually, it's a comment of the day, which we can't, hey, you guys. There you go.
Oh, that'll do.
That would be the comment of the day theme while you're on a remote.
Well, why don't you read me the comment of the day then?
So, comment of the day. This is from Robert, one of our loyal listeners.
Robert, that can't be. There's too many Roberts. Last hour it was Robert and Robert, the two Roberts between two ferns.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's right. That's true. Well, we got another Robert here. And Robert came across a article, the title of the article, "Your Dog's Gut Controls His Health." And it goes on to talk about how the health of the dog's gut will control the health of the dog overall. And in the article, there's a quote, says, "No guts, no glory," which I thought was that's kind of clever. And Robert says, "The old adage is true. When it comes to your dog's health, your dog can't be healthy without a healthy gut." So I guess it makes sense, right? Because we talk about the gut a lot on this show.
Yeah.
And how important the gut is to your basically everything going on in your body and your health. I guess it would be no different for dogs, right?
Well, yeah. Why would it? I mean, this is a reality that concerns me, especially when you see, and I walk, because we have now an outdoor cat that's sort of semi-indoor because lives in the garage in the winter that we adopted with this place we are, because it's apparently a mouser and it takes care of rodents in the garden. That's why the garden that we inherited, it was so prolific. There weren't any little mice or rats or anything eating it because this cat is protecting it. So I love this cat. So trying to figure out what food, because they had this cat on just horrible food, and it had a distended stomach. It was still not bad, but not great. And so we got looked. I went to one of those pet stores to look for species appropriate diets, and of course cats, we've had veterinarians on here talking about a species appropriate diet. You're talking 95, 96, 98, 97% protein is supposed to be, and I was hard pressed to find a wild quality with 90% protein in these pet food stores. So we've been doing the Stella and Chewies, which I don't endorse. I mean, we use it. Our indoor cat loves it. So we're having to transition this other one. But if you look at the ingredients, honestly, read them. I mean, they're feeding these animals corn and things they would never eat in the wild, grains.
Right.
And it's like, it's not what they would eat. And how is that destroying their gut? And what happens when you eat wrong as a human?
You mean dogs don't run through the wheat fields eating the wheat and jumping up and grabbing ears of corn? And
I may not be a veterinarian, but I don't believe I've ever seen that happen.
No.
Yeah.
Well, this is a good article, and appreciate Robert passing this on, because they throw a few ideas out here, like feeding your dog a fresh whole food diet. They recommend using probiotics for your dog and avoiding antibiotics, steroids, and unnecessary vaccines. So really a lot of the same advice that you would give the owner of the dog, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There you go.
So yeah, it's a good article here at Dogs Naturally magazine, apparently. I'm looking at it now. Use probiotics, fermented. Yeah, if you do vegetables, they say if you can ferment them. Raw goat milk can be used. Kefir. And yeah, I've seen kefir being used with great impact for the microbiome of these animals, cats and dogs, in fact, benefiting from that. So take a look at that. Also,
try feeding a cat vegetables. That'd be a fun one.
Doesn't always go. Doesn't always go. The CBD thing, though, these animals can benefit. They have an endocannabinoid system as well.
Totally.
So no reason not to give them a little CBD, and of course silver if they need it to help heal if they're challenged topically or internally. All right, we have a national immunization alert. Considering that there's no immunization happening in America in reality, at least not by CDC standards. Well, I don't even know if they have standards. We'll find out what that alert is. We got a question of the day coming through the Truth About Cancer as well.
The Robert Scott Bell Show.
In all my years of radio, I've never seen anything like this.
The Robert Scott Bell Show.
Yeah, coconut oil is awesome. I'm looking at Stormy. I give the cats coconut oil. They love it. I'll give the cat ghee. Those fats are really good.
Dogs love coconut oil.
Mm-hmm.
They really do.
Yeah.
They really love it. I don't know why, but there's just something about it. The dogs just lose their minds over.
Michelle brings up so many good things. I was just noticing that. And it's one of the things I wanted to talk about because the microbiome as well. There are bacteria that may be the key to transforming these radioactive wastes. And so we go back to microbiome. We go back to our very survival depends on microbiome levels, right? We talk about organic farming. The farmers that know what to do, they rehabilitate their soil so it's a home teeming with bacterial life forms that transform the things in the soil, break them down into forms that are bioavailable for plants. Now, again, I don't know how much research is being done. I know there's some. And maybe, Michelle, if you do some digging, we can get you back on to talk about that issue of what is the promising, are there promising bacterial species within a microbiome that are able to transform? I know there's some that can tolerate, withstand it. You're like, whoa, how is that possible? But can any of them transform it? That would be interesting. Like we can digest things, break them down and alter their form, use the good stuff from it. Wouldn't it be reasonable? Radioactivity does exist as a natural source in the earth, uranium, for instance. But of course, when you refine it, mine it, and refine it, just like taking and isolating certain things in rocks and saying it's the same way we would get it, not necessarily. And that could be, again, problematic. I don't know, even for the bacteria to deal with. So I'm just positing and querying and looking at these things. So uranium. So certain microbes can use radionuclides such as uranium and neptunium in place of oxygen, studies have found. In doing so, they convert them from soluble to insoluble. So again, that is a great point. I was thinking about it earlier, Michelle. You're always one step ahead. I love that. Let's see. Cats steamed broccoli florets. They like steamed broccoli. Okay. Buying scraps from a butcher cheaper than store dog food. You know, I think so. I looked at some of these so-called high protein, not too toxic, or all the garbage added into those things. I never really walk into these stores, and I happened to do that one day. I'm like, oh my gosh, people, complain about food, the price of food for themselves. That's good. I don't even think all of that was the greatest quality. It is outrageously expensive. So they know that people will spend more on their pets than they spend on themselves, I think. All right. Certain phytoplankton can make oxygen. All right. So what do we want to do in this next segment there, Super D?
Let's see. Got here. All right. So we got the natural news article that we'll go into about the shingles vaccine and the non-seasonal flu vaccine.
So those things you have the ability to get harmed and sue.
Yeah.
Like that's an endorsement for, everybody get those vaccines so you can sue. I'm like, no.
Yay.
No.
Hire an attorney first.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Is buying scraps from a butcher cheaper than store dog food?
Yeah, I was just talking about that. I'm
just sorry. I was working on something.
I think
chicken
probably.
Feet, huh?
I mean, if you've walked through, I don't know. I had never done that till recently. Walked through one of those pet superstores, and it's like you can go apoplectic. I don't know, catatonic maybe. I don't know what the word is, but there's so many choices. You think about choices for humans, choices for pets, and then to find the cleaner foods that are actually more species appropriate. And I was looking at the pricing. Wow. I think it's way more than human food.
It's pretty crazy. It is.
Yeah. So if you want to feed your animals, you are going to invest if you don't make it yourself. So the butcher scraps idea may be a good one.
I like buying meat from a butcher too anyway.
Yeah, real butchers. 15 seconds. John, everything good back at GCN?
Feeling good, sounding good.
Did you hear that? Was it Eric that darted out to the Fleetwood Mac concert the other night?
Oh no! Did he go?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, and he said Mackenzie. No, who did he say? Daniel's got you covered, and we yelled for Daniel.
Daniel's like, "What are you talking about?"
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, that's funny. All right, here comes the traffic, guys.
Then Mackenzie saved us.
Good.
The Robert Scott Bell Show.
Stand-up radio continues on the Robert Scott Bell Show, live from Stuart, Florida tonight at Peggy's Natural Foods. Peggy Ranger, good friend for years. There was actually, Super Don, at this event, there was a woman who did indeed know me when I was a snot-nosed homeopathic kid. And I say that because in my early years of homeopathy, I still probably had a little bit of a snotty nose. But I wasn't a kid, but relative to what I am now, perhaps. And she actually introduced me, this woman, a very nice lady. And, she actually did know me back when in my early homeopathic years, I did travel trips down to Florida from Georgia all those years ago. And I was doing lectures on the circuit. And there are some folks that are still around that knew me way back when. That's pretty wild. Pre-radio days at that point. So there was a little, I don't know what they call that, old home. What do you call that when you're doing the reminiscing? Can you sing me a song about reminiscing?
Walking through the park and reminiscing. No,
yes.
Yeah.
Is that a Hall & Oates? Is that a Hall & Oates show?
No, I don't. I can't remember who did that.
Reminiscing. That was a 1970s song. I think it was a soft rock or something.
Yes,
yes. Somebody will know that in the chat room and let us know.
That would be somewhere on the AM Gold CD somewhere.
Yeah. Well, we've got more alerts beyond radiation. Apparently, this at Natural News is called a national immunization alert. I'm like, immunization is the wrong word to use because none of the vaccines are actually immunizations. Becoming immune to something is far different than having an antibody to it. Honestly, it's just so much more than that. And we're still dealing with, like, I don't want to insult cavemen, but it's like a caveman mentality with vaccines that people still think immunization, you get a vaccine, you're immune. It's like, it's such it's wrong.
What was that commercial? That commercial where they said it's so easy a caveman.
Even a caveman can do it, right? I'm like, this is insulting to, I don't know to who, perhaps Offit, but we don't care if we insult him. But zoster shingles vaccine and non-seasonal flu vaccines are not covered by the National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. Now, why is this an alert to what? Well, let me know. Is it an alert? Let me ask you this. Is it an alert to say, hey, everything covered on the National Vaccines childhood schedule, like the CDC says, it's recommended for children. If it's on that list and your child is injured or killed, you cannot sue. You have to go to the special magistrate within the kangaroo unconstitutional vaccine court. So they're pointing out in this article that the shingles shot and the non-seasonal flu vaccines are not part of the recommended schedule. So you can sue them should something happen to you or your child. But I mean, is this a ringing endorsement to say these are the only shots you should get? What's the angle on this story?
Well, you can look at it more than one way, right? Because it's like, on the one hand, like you said, is that it's not covered, so you could sue them. On the other hand, you could look at it and say, well, so if I am injured, so what you're saying is I don't get any compensation through the program. I want to remind you of a story that we covered, and I want to say this was, I'm looking really quick here. It was in August, I believe, where there were lawsuits that were being filed against Merck's shingles vaccine, the Zostavax, which is the one they're talking about here.
Yeah.
And there were 18 people from across the country that filed one of the first lawsuits in New Jersey. The lawsuit alleges the vaccine caused people to develop shingles.
Right.
And what they were doing is they were going after them for fraud, which is something that it was kind of like an end around type thing, where they weren't they weren't going after them for the things that they say that you can't go after them for, right? But it was for fraud. That it was
well, that
sales
was
techniques.
that was to violate what or to break the limitation, because there was supposedly a loophole, they call it, in the National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program law that says you can't sue them unless there's fraud, right? So if you can go after the fraud, then all of them are basically liable. In other words, you can, not just these two. But in these two cases, if you're injured, you can go direct. And remember, folks, in the 1980s, this is the reason the law was passed, because they went to the Reagan administration and said, we're pulling out. All the vaccine manufacturers were like, we can't do business in America because your people are suing us. Well, why were they suing? Because there were so many injuries occurring. So remember, part of the law we learned about more recently is that every 2 years, the Department of Health and Human Services, CDC, anybody in that realm that was charged with this had to report back on what's the rate of adverse events, injuries, deaths, all of that, to make sure that there was never a negative trend. In other words, it wasn't getting worse, that at the very least, every time we would see something, we would address it and make them safer. But there was no incentive because HHS did not do what the law said they had to do. So you are left with, well, you got to take the vaccine. Why? Well, because they're safe and effective and they save lives. Vaccines save lives, right? We're all a bunch of Pavlovian dogs if we listen and believe that lie. And all too many, in fact, Superman, is it fair to say that the majority of medical people believe the lies? Would you say the majority, or the majority don't believe the lie? I mean, what if you were to say the majority of doctors say, go get your vaccines, or the majority say, no, don't get your vaccines because I don't believe it? What would you say?
Well, they believe it, but they don't view it as a lie, right? I mean, it's very it's not a black and white cut and dry thing, because most of the people, I believe, that are saying go get your flu shot mean well. It's not like they're going, please go out because we want you to have neurological damage, or go give your kids autism, please.
Well, a dog, a dog means well when it licks you, but does that mean it has the intelligence to tell you to go to get a vaccine? No, my point is that these doctors are programmable. They're programmable human humans. I mean, they are easy to program. And that's why, and that's how, in many cases, they became doctors, because they didn't ask questions. They put their head down, they studied, they memorized, they were hazed through residency, and they came out with a special degree and a license, unfortunately, to kill, including children, pediatricians. Danger, 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 danger. I do not recommend going to any pediatricians as a general rule. Obviously, we featured a few over the years that actually have achieved a level of consciousness that they see through this, but the vast majority, and I don't think it's an exaggeration, it's not me just generalizing, by their behavior, you shall know them, will say that, yep, I agree, vaccines save lives, just get them. Shut up and get them. And one of the discussions I had with the other health food store here in Stewart, the woman was talking about her family, her in-laws. They're all medical people. They're all suffering from ailments. They're on numerous drugs, and they're, chastising her and her family with her kids. How dare you not vaccinate your kids? This is just abuse. This is neglect. And it's like, you try to bring them the peer-reviewed literature, the science, because they're claiming that she, who works in a health food store, is not scientific and she doesn't know, she couldn't know. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. I bring the science, for instance, on silver to a lot of places, and they'll still say, oh, no, that's health food store stuff. That's not real. I'm like, they're using it in hospitals. That doesn't matter. I mean, there is such a disconnect from higher intelligence when you become a doctor that, as I say, I'm not impressed. Now, this is not me bashing on doctors. I mean, we talk about this with Dr. Batar a lot, and I maybe I'm intolerant. I mean, could it be that you found my level of intolerance? I can only take so much, and doctors claiming to be smarter than the average American who doesn't vaccinate?
Are you your doctor intolerant? Is there a pill for that? I don't know.
I'm not taking it, but
will the silver aloe protocol take care of that? I don't know.
Maybe you pour it on their head, they wake up. I don't know. So anyway, well, let's move on from that. By the way, you could take homeoprophylaxis, the nosode for the zoster varicella virus. There are flu nosodes available. In fact, Dr. King has a multi-strain flu relief. Hopefully it's ready and available for you. So that would be the safer way. And if you want to do the silver hydrosol, a teaspoon 3 times a day through the winter months, I think it's your best prophylactic maintenance. We'll talk tomorrow with Christopher Barr, not a doc, about echinacea and its role and how it complements the silver, how we might be able to use both and prevent all flu. It'll be great. That's coming up.
Just make sure you say it right. It is echinacea, not euthanasia, right?
Yes. Did somebody say euthanasia? Who said that? All right. All right. I understand.
Anyway, all right. Question
of the day. All right.
Yes.
Now, give me the question of the day. Read it to me. Tell me what they want to know.
All right. This is coming from Anita. Anita says, in the Truth About Cancer, you mentioned selenium, chromium, and silica to treat cancer. Can you recommend a supplement product that contains all three of these? It seems to me from the discussion that one does exist. Yeah. Or if I have to get them separately, again, can you recommend a brand or brands?
Yeah.
There are so many out there, it's difficult to know what you are getting. That's part one. So I guess that's fairly easy to answer, right?
Yeah, of course. But I just want to clarify something that I never said that I take it to treat cancer. I mean, it is to supplement what the body is lacking so that the body can overcome the cancer. How does it do that? Selenium, the most protective nutrient in the body, mineral to protect against cancer. Of course, chromium addressing the energy of cancer. How does it get it? It steals the sugar that comes into your body, even if it's not refined sugar from everything. It's an obligate glucose metabolizer. Get the GTF chromium in you in a whole food form, and you can minimize the access for the cancer cells to the sugar. And the silica is to restore the integrity of the connective tissue, make it more difficult for the cancer cells to grow and metastasize, chew through connective tissue. So it's alta silica, it's innate response selenium, it's innate response chromium. And you can get that at choosetobehealthy.com, choosetobehealthy.com, 866-424-1077. If you're in a health food store like this one, they actually had the alta silica and the GTF chromium and the selenium, but they had it in the Mega Food brand. They had the Alta, but they also had Mega Food, which is the health food store brand of N8. Okay, so that's another option. Is there another part of that question?
Anita, and it's we probably don't have enough time to really answer this, but she wanted to know about other protocols for melanoma.
Well, wasn't there a question of the day we answered for tomorrow with Chris that I told you about? Was this the one, or was it a different one?
No, this is a different one. This is a different one. But you know what? Tune in tomorrow because there'll be some good information that Chris gives. And also on Facebook, go to Not a Nurse, Not a Doc. They talk about this all the time. Chris has his own protocols for all kinds of different things. And you definitely can get the information there.
Yeah, you can use silver on a melanoma as well. Iodine directly on a melanoma as well. And, of course, the connective tissue. Again, silica, selenium, all of that. So same stuff applies and then some. All right, folks, we're going to be back. I can't believe we're at the final segment tonight. And if I can get out of this health food store tonight, I'll see you tomorrow in Coral Springs. What are you pooping?
Great heavens. What kind of radio show is this?
The Robert Scott Bell Show.
Was that
a heck of a way to end a segment?
Wow, Robert, you made me freaking howl with that one.
Yeah, well, how do you transition? How do you tease the next segment? You just ask a question. Sometimes that's the best way to do it.
Probably the best tease I've ever heard.
The best tease he's ever heard. Looking, I'm feeling cocky. I'm like, I want the show to continue. We're not stopping tonight, John. Keep us going.
All right.
Yeah. You missed your first hour, so.
Yeah, I did. Well, I did it yesterday, but it was different. It's like coming in and just like, you know how the energy it takes to get up to speed? We came in going full speed. That's what it is tonight. So let me see. What is this last story and how did you find it? This is on Wired. Wow.
And this story actually was of all these stories that I saw today from all the different outlets.
Yeah.
This was one of the ones that was being carried pretty much everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
This just came out today.
Wow.
It's not surprising, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when plastic pretty much surrounds you everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, everything is made out of plastic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where you're standing, Robert, John, where you're sitting, I guarantee.
What is he
probably
sitting?
More than where Robert's
John's
standing.
Not sitting.
I'm standing right
He's
now.
Standing. I know. I've been down in the basement.
If you looked around, if you looked around right now, you are surrounded by plastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, I mean, it's just just a part of life. It's everywhere. Everything's made of plastic, covered in plastic, made of plastic parts. I mean, plastic is just like, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And so it just makes sense that this would end up in the food chain at some point.
I'm looking at this. This is just wow. Every participant's wow.
Isn't that crazy?
It's the first study of its kind. Every one of them. Polyethylene, polypropylene, polyvinyl chloride. 10 types that researchers screened. 9 were detected. Wow. Wow. This is stunning, really.
Yeah.
Future study of all.
I mean, we could have opened with this story, really, but the Japan story was a lot better.
8 million metric tons annually. Wow. Okay. All right, John, you were here to witness first. The question, what are you pooping?
Just regular poop.
Yeah, well, not according to this
the correct
study,
answer,
Not
the
according
correct
to this
answer
study.
is
Coffee
plastic.
enemas?
Well, we're going to find out. You stand by, and you're going to learn, and you're going to go, oh, I don't have to buy that stuff from the grocery store anymore.
You could just make it myself.
Yeah, well, you can take it out. Well, okay, it's kind of graphic and gross, but we'll go there because we're just that kind of radio show. We don't shy away from controversy, especially when you get to giggling about poop, because we're just a bunch of 10-year-old boys.
Yeah, I mean, you just blindsided me with that outro. You guys.
You know, and this was Daniel. He didn't want to be on our show last night, so Mackenzie saved us. But the thing is, Eric was like, told us that, yeah, Daniel's ready to take over. Daniel,
and it was totally matter of fact too.
Yeah,
right.
And
there was
so
no question.
It was like, and Daniel was like, he didn't say that to me. I'm like, dude, Daniel, you are well.
We're like getting ready to go on the air, right?
Yeah.
Eric dips out, and we're sitting there going, all right, so we're waiting for Daniel.
Yeah.
And so we're like, Daniel, hey, Daniel, wait, Daniel? And Daniel, I guess, was somewhere else in the room, but he heard us.
Right.
And he like walks over and he's like,
what?
I don't know why you guys are calling me.
Right.
And we're like, well, you're supposed to be running the show. He's like, I'm not running your show. And we're like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Someone is.
Then
Mackenzie's going to be saving me on Saturday.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, he's running American Huck for me. I got to go to a wedding.
Ah, all right. Who's getting married?
Friend of my lady friend.
Ah.
A lady friend.
So this is like, you're not going to hit on the bridesmaids.
Well, she is a bridesmaid, so yeah.
Oh, you're hitting on one of the bridesmaids, but that one's pre-authorized.
That's the one I'm going with.
Okay. Do you have to dress in a tux?
No, but a suit.
Okay. Do you clean up nice?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Better believe
We have
it.
no idea what John even looks like.
No, I know we don't. He wants to be anonymous, apparently. Shane, yeah, defined hemp knows what's being pooped.
All right, gents, here it comes.
All right,
here we go.
Rocking the health world through the power of radio. It's the Robert Scott Bell Show.
Well, I want to thank Peggy's Natural Foods in Stuart, Florida, for hosting me tonight. And tomorrow we'll be at Simply Natural in Sunrise, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, with Richard Pearl, apparently about 2 to 4 p.m. if you want to drop by and enjoy an organic meal with us. And then back to Coral Springs for Toonies at 6 o'clock Eastern time, local time. We have Chris, Not a Doc Bar, on the first hour. And then I'll be live, hopefully from Toonies. We'll see where it's going to be tomorrow. We'll have to reach out and find out what's going on with that. But for now, again, upcoming events are in the show notes at robertscottbell.com. Please remember to share the archives, which are available pretty immediate at GCNlive.com, or home and broadcast radio syndication. And then iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, our friends in the UK Health Radio. And don't think you're getting out of this question, what are you pooping? As well as on YouTube when we're streaming live, which seems to be a lot. Oh, somebody snuck in the back. I'm going to be able to escape Peggy's later. I think we're going to have help to leave. I won't sleep here tonight. This is good news.
Yay.
Good news. So I asked the question, right. Super Don, on the way out, what are you pooping? Now, it's a stunning, weird question, but I've also said this about if you want to find out if your doctor is a good doctor for you, ask your doctor how often he or she is pooping. And if they're not offended and they go, oh, I'm glad you asked that, this is what I do, then yeah, that you've got somebody that at least understands basic bodily functions and the importance of them. But what goes out in that poop? What's in that poop? Obviously it's metabolic waste. To some degree, it's environmental waste if you're still capable of dealing with all of the garbage we talk about that's coming in. Maybe radioactive waste if the microbiome can bind it and keep it in there. We've talked about, for instance, certain things in the environment, like remember the little fibers in strawberries, and that the health ranger Mike Adams found out that if you took those fibers when you eat fish, it will bind with the mercury in the fish and carry it through the gut and on out.
That's right. Yeah.
So there'll be strategies, but we don't know what the strategy is to make sure that this particular ingredient is coming out, which apparently they're finding is coming out in, is it 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 people?
9 out of 10, I think, is what it came down to here. But yeah, dude, it's plastic. Apparently, listen, we have over time pretty much just accepted that everything is made out of plastic. I mean, if you're sitting right down where you are, anybody who's listening right now, and you look around the room, I dare you to try and be anywhere where you're not going to find plastic. Yeah. A lot of plastic. And apparently a lot of this is ending up in the ocean. And it's breaking down in the ocean and turning into microplastics, which then ends up in the food chain because the birds eat it. It gets into the fish, and then other things eat the fish and the birds and the stuff, and then it just ends up in our food chain.
Yeah.
And so what they did was this test where they took 8 people from 8 different countries, and they tested their poop, and they were testing, I think, for a number of different plastics.
Yeah.
And they found that out of like the 10 types of plastic that they were screening for, they found 9 in every single person from every country. And on average, the researchers turned up 20 particles of microplastic per quarter pound of excrement.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking that somebody might be able to say, hey, my poop don't stink because it's made of plastic. But no, it's not all of it. There's still enough of the other stuff in there. But, this is another reason why you want to make sure you have an intact gastrointestinal lining, because you don't want to get those plastics in you. We talk about leaky gut, large particles, undigested proteins getting in there. And if you have leaky gut, who knows? Those plastics might not all be coming out. And at that point, is it inert? Does the body look at it as a foreign invader? Will it encapsulate it in a tumor? Right? This is the question I have. Now, we know about the xenoestrogenic impact, turning men into girly men, which you can't say. But, I think that the soy boys that have been so brought up on soy turns into girls because of the estrogen compounds. So I don't know what the whole outcome of this is, but I will say, man, oh man, we've got to convert to hemp, because it can do things that they're using the oil to make plastics. Hemp will not be xenoestrogenic, and it can make plastics that would be biodegradable ultimately, that would be safer to pass through the system or go into the environment and break down, even if it went into the ocean. Come on, hemp.
I think more research needs to be done on this to see what kind of effect it may be having on people.
Right. And of course, if you're running low on plastic bags, just sift through. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Listen, I'd say switch to paper, but then they say, no, you're killing the trees. How about making the paper bags out of hemp too? Really, we can do that. Folks, this is the place for health, freedom, and healing liberty. Thank you to Peggy's. Thank you to all for being here. I hope to see all my friends down in South Florida tomorrow, Coral Springs and Fort Lauderdale, because the power to heal is yours.
The Robert Scott Bell Show.
So now you know, John,
that settles it.
Plastic in your poop.
You can use your poop to make plastic bags to pick up dog poop. It's the circle of life.
There you go.
Hey, who knows? There might be plastic in your dog poop too. So you're like, I'm not picking that up. There's plastic in that.
It's the circle of life.
It's picking itself up then. That's the case.
Wow. That is some advanced thinking.
Crazy,
right,
dude. Crazy. All right. Thank you all for being with me. Super D, I'll figure it out. You're good on the Chris Barr segments for tomorrow, hour 1?
Yeah. So let's just touch base in the morning. We'll figure out what's going on.
So we're planning on doing the same thing tomorrow, y'all, on YouTube, picking up the second hour in progress, video in. So bear with us. It's a crazy trip, but we're having fun. Thank you,
All right, have a good
John.
night.
Thank you,
You
Super
got
Don.
it. I'll see you on Sunday.
All right, take care. All right, that's it. Let me just see if there's anything that I need to do before I break down here. Let's see here. What is that one from? To and from home? Master's degree. All right, I'll have to look at that later. Let's see here on YouTube. Where are y'all at? Okay, there we go. Michelle, not all poo is created equal. Bristol stool scale. Okay. No. I always wondered if Killer Chucky doll poop plastic doo-doo. You guys are funny. Plastic right foot. Hemp can make biodegradable plastic. That is true. I was right. Not making that up, y'all. All right. Well, listen, thanks for being here. Appreciate y'all. Life on the road. Kind of crazy, but we're making it through. Thanks to you guys. Please keep sharing this message. Support our sponsors. Please give a shout out to our friends at betterwayhealth.com, betterwayhealth.com/radio, or call them up. Go to their website. Say, hey, thanks for supporting the Robert Scott Bell Show. Keep it up. We can't do this without their help and your help as well. So thank you for that. 2 hours a day, 6 days a week. I know it's a bit. It's a lot. It's a few. It's a lot. So with that, I'm going to say good night, y'all. Take care. We'll talk to you tomorrow.